everyone, my name is Michaela Pelly and welcome back to another episode of my podcast. Today we will be discussing a diverse group of exciting topics that have not been previously covered on my show. So keep listening if you want to learn more about the KBG, different types of propaganda techniques, and Animal Farm. The KBG, which stands for something far too difficult to pronounce, was an institution within the Soviet Union's government best known for its work of espionage, separating the Soviet Union from Western influences, and protecting the Union's secrets. According to Robert W. Pringle's article, KBG, the KBG was created in 1954 to serve as the sword and shield of the Communist Party. During the Soviet era, they offered protection to the political leadership, which included the supervision of border troops and the general surveillance of the population. The authoritative groups instilled fear and performed large-scale purges and depopulation during Joseph Stalin's reign. The article states that for the next 20 years, even after Stalin wasn't in power, the KBG became increasingly zealous in its pursuit of enemies, harassing, arresting, and sometimes exiling human rights advocates, Christian and Jewish activists, and intellectuals judged to be disloyal to the regime. The KBG was not the first secret police group in the USSR. The first was established in 1917 and can be known as the Cheka. The Library of Congress article, Secret Police, states that the Cheka was empowered only to investigate counter-voluntary crimes, but it soon acquired powers of summary justice and began a campaign of terror against the propertied class and enemies of Bolshevism. This was the original group of secret police in the Soviet Union, but when it was their time to be disbanded, many had an issue with the gap they left. Throughout the years following the Russian Civil War, the KBG was renamed several times but still maintained the same dominance. On December 3, 1991, the KBG collapsed following the dismantling of the Soviet Union. Still, instead of dissolving completely, it broke off into several smaller organizations that assumed the same roles as the original notorious terror group. Wow, that was a lot of information I just went through. Now, I know that history is probably not the favorite subject of many in school. It's boring, right? Listening to someone ramble on about things that happened ages ago. Well, for me personally, the better you can understand the past, the easier it is to make sense of what's happening in the world today. That brings me to how the KBG is affecting our society. When the KGB dissolved in 1991, the intelligence sector of Russia's government wasn't just thrown away. It was instead replaced with the FSB, which some allege performed the same vile tasks as its predecessor. Current Russian President Vladimir Putin is a former member of the KBG, and when he rose to power almost 20 years ago, he recruited many of his old KGB colleagues to help rebuild the nation. According to History.com editors, the concern today is that Putin is planning to merge the Foreign Intelligence Service, or SVR, with the FSB under the new name Ministry of State Security. This is the same thing that Stalin did back in the day to rule with an iron fist, quelling dissent domestically through murderous means and spying on foreign rivals. Some examples of how Putin can maintain control through his intelligence army are the manipulation of the 2016 United States presidential election and the attempted 2018 Russian assassination on Sergei Skripal in Britain. The 2016 election is a complicated and politically driven argument on whether or not Russian intelligence undermined the vote. This was achieved through the impairment of the public's faith in the democratic process and the slander of former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton by exposing private emails, ruining her electability as president. The type of propaganda used in Russia by the KBG is called active measures. This includes leaking false information, starting rumors to foreign media outlets, or placing Russian intelligence in foreign countries in an attempt to deceive the public or the political elite. Now that we have discussed a lot about the KBG and Russia's intelligence sector, I think I'm starting to see a connection to Animal Farm. In the satire, the dogs were 9 puppies trained by Napoleon to protect him, do his dirty work, and ultimately allow him to stay in power. Some direct links between the dogs and the KBG include the dogs fighting the Battle of the Windmill to the KBG protecting national borders, executing people who disagree with their leader's beliefs/agenda, and guarding prominent members of the Communist Party to the dogs protecting the pigs. Wow, today was a lot. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of my podcast. Join us next week at 8 a.m. Eastern Time to learn about the book Year of Wonders written by Geraldine Brooks and how it connects to the recent unfolding of the coronavirus outbreak.